Infinity Duet is a new piece created by Cecile and myself, and it has two dancers. It has a sculpture and it lasts for 10 minutes, and in this 10 minutes the dancers and the sculpture deal with weight and time and suspension.
Sculpture has so many similarities with dance, and one of the things we've been interested in is time, space, and movement. All of those things come into sculpture, and that's one of the reasons I wanted so much to work with Faye on this collaboration.
And what I love about Cecile's work is that it deals quite explicitly with tension and the potential for something to happen, even though the sculpture itself might be still in that very moment. There's a third collaborator for Infinity Duet. His name is Richard McReynolds, and he's a Cardiff-based sound artist and composer.
Richard came to the studio to look at the materials that I use when making sculpture, and one of the main materials is newsprint.
So I can pull it tight or crumple it, rip it, and it's just a collection of as many different sounds as I can possibly get, which gives me a palette of sounds I can then compose with. It's got those little kind of imperfections and those little bits of randomness which just give it a stronger character than if you had a straight synthesized tone. From that point, what it is, it's taken the material sound source and then starting to think about kind of motion and gesture, and so that's when thoughts of phase practice come in. So it's been really nice to bounce together ideas as the piece becomes more and more fully formed.
Newsprint is something that everyone uses when looking at a newspaper, except that it doesn't have words on it. I get my newsprint from ends of rolls, so it's kind of a material where anything could happen.
I love how Cecile transforms the texture of paper, which most of us might associate with flat and flimsy and light, to something so solid looking. In my practice, I like to go between ideas of softness and hardness, because I think we all, as human bodies, have those different textures within ourselves, and also in our emotional landscape and our lives we deal with softness and hardness.
It's been really fascinating to watch how Faye's developed the choreography with the dancers, and how the sculpture and the dancers share the same space. How can we retain the autonomy of sculpture within the shared space with dancers?
In this piece, I've been very inspired to find out what's poetic from the functional. So a lot of the movements of the dancers deal with their own personal anatomy, deal with gravity. I try to craft this physicality into something that might suggest poetry, might suggest emotion. And it's up to the audience to be there in the moment, to absorb the experience and figure out what that emotional experience is for themselves.
There's so many elements to this piece and to this process, and I think each of those individual elements is so rich in itself. It's going to be really exciting to see how they all come together.
There's all of this weaving that's been going on between the three of us in our collaboration. And I think it's also very meaningful for us that, as well as being our art practices, it's also our communities. We're bringing the audiences of art, sound, and dance together, and those communities will be sharing the space with us when we perform.
And the audience can come to see something that isn't just one person's idea or one person's vision, but a collective vision of something that we're all passionate about.